Hi, welcome back to Grains in Small Places. And today I wanted to cover a lot of questions that I get asked on things that can go wrong and how to fix your bread dough. So let's go ahead and dive on in and let's get started. Okay, so I get asked a lot of questions about a lot of things, but there are some common questions that just keep coming up over and over with many people. And I wanted to cover some of these questions because I figured if one or two people have questions, maybe not everybody is asking or wants to know the answer. And so I figured I would just kind of share with you. So I also wanted to go over like how you can check with your dough and fix your dough if there is a problem. Some problems can be fixed, other ones it may be better to start over. So I wanted to talk about a few of those things. So fresh mode flour is very different than white flour. If you've been baking for a long time, it may be harder for you actually than somebody that's never been a baker before because you're so used to how the dough should look and feel with white flour. But with fresh mode flour, it's just a little bit different. It's not necessarily harder, it's just different. You definitely want it to seem more hydrated when you're working with bread dough. So first, I guess, recommendation is to allow the dough to be slightly wetter than what you would be used to. If you've never baked before, then if you're following one of the recipes, I have many recipes on my blog. The blog is grainsinsmallplaces.net. I also have a cookbook. I have all the things fresh milled flour, and you can start with one of those recipes, or you can use these tips for any other recipes. I'll talk about like converting them over and things like that, but I'm mostly talking about bread dough here. So any of the doughs that you would want stretchy dough with, you got your breads, rolls, buns, pizza dough, stuff like that is mainly what we're talking about. I do have a video on like how to make a all-purpose flour substitute, and that's more for things that aren't bread dough like what we're talking about today. So it'd be more like cookies and muffins and pastries and things, how to switch those over from like your favorite recipe or your family recipe from all-purpose flour over to fresh milled flour. And there's many variables that go in, so if you're interested in that, I'll try to put a link to that video down in the description box below. But back to the bread dough. So when you're mixing your dough for your bread, you're going to want to put your liquid in and then your flour. And then so I get a lot of people saying, well, my bread seems too wet. I will admit my recipes are on the wetter side, and if you're living in a humid climate or it's raining or anything like that, you may need to hold back a little bit of that water. And so people ask, well, can I just add more flour? I really recommend holding back water from any of the recipes, or moisture, whatever liquid the recipe calls for. Hold that back. Start your recipe with the flour and everything and go from there. It's always best to look and feel your dough. So stop the mixer, get your hands a little bit wet, and then pull the dough out and check it for stretchiness. So the best way to tell what's going on with your dough is to actually touch the dough and feel the dough, not just watching it in the mixer. There's a misconception that you want to keep adding flour until it clears the sides of the bowl, because that's basically how you do it with white flour. That's not necessarily always the case with fresh milled flour. My bread doughs, when I'm making them, don't always clear the sides of the bowl. I'm really looking for nice stretchy dough. So the reason I say hold back some of that water is because if you use all of the flour in the beginning, you can always add more water. It's actually easier to add more liquid or more water further down in your recipe than it is to add more flour. And the reason for this is because most of my recipes have the autolyse period, and when you're doing that, that fresh milled flour is able to absorb that moisture and start developing the gluten already. So if you have that and you've been kneading it for a long time and you realize this is really, really wet or really, really dry, and how can I adjust this? Well, adding more water, it'll look a little funky at first, and then eventually it will all knead in, and that is actually a really simple, easy way, is to add more water or more moisture, whatever liquid the recipe is calling for. Even if the recipe calls for a different liquid, you can always just use water. If you find that it is too wet and you want to add more flour in, the problem with doing that is The dough that you've already hydrated and already been kneading and mixing and all of that has got the gluten developed. The flour has already absorbed all the moisture, and then you're adding new flour in. Well, this new flour has not had time to soak up the moisture, has not had time to develop gluten. So by the time that new flour is developing the gluten, your other flour is already over kneaded. So that can be a problem. So anytime you're doing a new recipe, my number one recommendation is to hold out some of that water for any bread, roll, pizza dough, anything. You can always add that water back in, even if you have the full thing measured in a cup or anything like that for the full recipe. You may not use all that water, but you have it knowing you may need that water. I just find that that is a better way to adjust your recipe than just adding more flour, because sometimes adding more flour, by the time that flour absorbs all the liquid, you now have a dense or a tight loaf or something that seems really compacted. Sometimes that dense or tight loaf might seem right to you if you had made it with white flour, because white flour pretty much instantaneously absorbs that liquid, so you don't have to wait for it to do that absorbing. So I really wanted to share that with you because I figured that that's a great way to get started, is to hold back some of that water, make your bread. If you think that it looks dry or it's not coming together, then you can add a little bit more water. But other than that, the recipes can change even for me. I'm using the same wheat berries. If the weather is weird or wonky outside, it might be different for me. Also, the next thing I wanted to go into is your mixer and your mill a little bit. If your mill mills only very coarsely, then you're going to have to let your fresh milled flour soak a lot longer to become soft. Mostly those are like the KitchenAid attachments and some of like the less expensive mills I've seen floating around on Amazon, stuff like that, or the hand crank mill. Sometimes those mill only a little bit coarser, which are great if you're wanting cream of wheat or grits or cornmeal or something like that. But if you're wanting a fine flour, then they may need to soak a lot longer, maybe even like 2 hours before you actually start your recipe in that water, so it could just start softening and absorbing that moisture. And then it'll be ready to go, because if it's like a hard big kernel, it's really hard for that to form that gluten for the stretchiness. So onto the mixer. I have found many different variables with mixers. So I keep making the videos because I keep learning things. I'm still learning just like you guys are. And I had, way back when, if you've seen some of my old videos, I had a KitchenAid mixer. I kind of blew it up a little bit. It still works, but it doesn't work. Hard to say. The front attachment where I can make like pasta, and there's a vegetable shredder and a meat grinder, so I can still use that. So I still have that and use it for that, but as far as the mixing goes, it's kaput. So, but I did learn a lot of things using that mixer, and it does take a lot longer in the KitchenAid mixers, but it can still be done. You just need to knead it for a while and then let it rest for a little bit, and then knead it for a little bit and let it rest, and keep checking for stretchy dough. Once the dough starts to seem a little bit stretchy, I'm going to share this little trick with you because it really worked for me wonders with that mill or that mixer, because the KitchenAid, I felt like it was never coming together. I could mix it for like a half an hour. I'm like, there's no gluten development, but there actually was. So check, and as soon as you've been kneading for a long time and the dough starts to seem a little stretchy, you're going to stop the mixer, pull all the bread out, all the dough out, flip it over, put it back in there, and mix it again for like 30 seconds. And I find that almost always that'll take care of it for the KitchenAid mixer style. After the KitchenAid mixer, you'll see I have a lot of videos on my Bosch compact mixer. It mixed very similar to the KitchenAid, but it was slightly different in how it rotated. So I did get better results that happened a little bit quicker for me. It was a small mixer, so it didn't do well for like bulk items. Also, they discontinued it. So my next mixer, I had the RTs for a very short time. And then my husband surprised me and blessed me for my birthday with an Ankerson mixer. And that mixer I've had for a long time, lots of videos on that. but the Ankerson mixer mixes very differently than all the other mixers. The Artiste mixer, I'll talk about that in a little bit because it's very similar to the Bosch mixer, and so we'll get to that in a minute. But the Ankerson mixer kneaded the dough so gently, and it would also knead the dough much quicker. I did not find that I had to stop my machine and let it rest. I did not find that I had to take the dough out and flip it over, none of that. And it was a little bit quicker. So I had that one for a long time. I still have that one. I still use it. I have a video talking about the differences between the Ankerson and the Bosch. If you want to dig more into that, I will try to remember to put a link to that in the description box below. I talk about the comparisons and depending on what kind of baker you are, which you might prefer or not. The Ankerson also likes a very wet dough. So a lot of my recipes were written while I was using that mixer as well. So then now, fast forward, I have the Bosch mixer. Yes, I have a small space, but we somehow make it work to find room for all of our mixers. They may not all be stored in the kitchen, but we find spots for them. So the Bosch mixer, I was kind of wowed by the fact of how quick it developed gluten. That mixer, I put it in there and just set my timer just like I would for the Ankerson mixer. Came back and was like, whoa, what happened? Everything is like cookie dough. This isn't right. This was over kneaded. So I learned that real quick, that the Bosch mixer and the Artiste mixer, both of those have a very similar mixer method. That's just one's larger than the other. Kneaded the dough so much quicker. So some of my recipes might say knead for 25 minutes or until you get the window pane or something like that. You don't have to be too fussy about the window pane. If you're not familiar what that is, that's basically just really stretchy dough where you can see the light through it. I have a few videos on that. But really, if you're just looking for stretchy dough, it does not have to be a perfect window pane. It does not have to not break when you pull on it. It just has to be nice stretchy dough that kind of wants to stay together. So when I had all those recipes, every mixer I had tried before that was like 18 minutes to 25 minutes was like the most common kneading time. Then came the Bosch mixer, and then I realized, okay, I only need to knead my bread for 5 to 7 minutes after the autolyze period in the Bosch, and almost always it's done. So thinking about what mixer you have does change things. It may be different for you than it is for your friend or me or somebody else you might be watching a video of. So just keep in mind what equipment you have does affect what the turnout is. And then another thing which I'm new to learning is softened water. So I have been experimenting because I've been recently in a location that has soft water, which I don't normally have access to, but I'm noticing that it's working very differently for me. I'm finding that my bread's not wanting to be as stretchy. It's kind of like lazy. Nothing's changed with my wheat berries. Nothing's changed with, I'll use the same mixers, different mixers, all of the ones that I have and get different results. And I started thinking about the softened water and could that be the issue? So then I've had other people send me messages saying that they had softened water. And I do know from experience that my softened water that I had access to killed my sourdough starter. And it did not fare well with softened water. So I've had to use spring water for that. And when I am in areas that don't have softened water, I don't have a problem getting the window pane or the stretchy dough or anything like that. So that's one thing I'm still learning a little bit about as I go. I'm going to keep playing with it with and without that and see what kind of things I've noticed. But I've noticed it's really hard for my dough to come together when I use soft water. So if you have soft water, please let me know down in the comments below if you also have issues if you use bottled like spring water or soft water. Now, I'm not talking about like purified water because it also has things added to it. I'm talking just spring water works the best for like my sourdough starter and my bread and stuff like that. But if you have softened water, I'd love to know your experience, if it's different for you at all. I'm still kind of putting that information together, so I'm putting that out. And another common problem that I see is dough that looks like it has collapsed. So the main reason that a dough might be collapsed is most likely it being overproofed. So to fix that one for the next time, it's pretty easy. you just shorten your second proof. If it's been really warm in your house, or you put it in a proofing drawer or a bread maker that has a proofing function, sometimes when it's really warm, fresh milled flour is very active, and sometimes it will rise a little faster than what you may expect. And then the next time you go to make it, it's cold outside, cold in your kitchen, and it rises much slower. So just keep an eye on that. You'll start to learn after you do this over and over and over again how long it normally takes for your house, but it may change with the seasons. But that generally, the collapsing of the bread is generally from it proofing too long for the second rise. So I really wanted to touch base with you about some of these things. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any other questions that I may have missed, or maybe I can direct you to a different video where I've covered it before, or anything like that. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can, to the best ability that I can. Sometimes I might have follow-up questions, because if you're making bread dough, usually the first thing I ask is what wheat berries did you use, because that makes a big difference as well. So you want to make sure you're using mostly a hard wheat. I do have a video on talking about like my favorite bread dough or my favorite bread flour mix. I have a video on that. So using what wheat you're using definitely can affect your results as well. If you have any questions about any of the mixers I mentioned, I have reviews for a lot of those mixers. If you have any questions about mills that I recommend and that I have reviews for most of those mills that I have. I'll put links down in the description box below for the Nutrimill Bosch mixer and the mills, all of those things. I do have a coupon code. It can save you $20 off. The coupon code is Grainy, and I'll put that down in the description box below as well if you're interested in anything like that. I'll go ahead and put a link for my blog down there and a link for my cookbook down there. And you can get that hard copy on Amazon. I've had people ask me about like how to see the description box. If you're on your phone, you'll see like the title of the video right under the video, and then it'll say more, and you can click that. And then sometimes if the description box is too big to fit on your phone, you'll have to click, I think, more again, and then you can see all of the the links to my recipes and things like that. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope this answers some of your questions. Let me know down in the comments below if I helped you out or if you still have any questions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And thanks for stopping by Grains in Small Places. Goodbye.